Hello and welcome back, or welcome if you're new. If you're new here, my name is Elena. I'm the homeschooling mama to 3 kiddos, and here on the channel we talk about everything from homeschooling to homemaking, all the things in between. As you can see from the title, we're going to talk about August to be read, or piles of possibility is more likely, because I know I'm probably not going to get through all of these books, but this is what I'm thinking might be an option. So let's jump in. First up, I'll share with you the 2 digital reads that I have checked out from our library. The first one is Counting Down With You by Tashie Bhuiyan. This book is listed as a young adult and is kind of a friends to lovers trope, I think. This follows Karina Ahmed and the school's bad boy Ace Clyde, and somehow Ace needs a tutor and Karina is the person that is chosen to tutor him, but he blurts out that this is his girlfriend, and then I'm just now diving into the reasons behind that, and of course there's a little more to Ace than meets the eye, but we'll see. I'm expecting this to be one of those books where we meet more and learn more about the school bad guy and learn that there is a whole nother part to him. We're already kind of getting bits and pieces in the beginning of the book, and I'm not too far into it just yet. It doesn't give me, I'm about 31% of the way through the book. So currently reading that one. I anticipate that I will finish this. And then the other digital read that I have is an audio book, and it is Becoming Free Indeed by Jinger, Duggar, Vuolo. I don't know if that's exactly right how to say it, but it says my story of disentangling faith from fear. And I have a friend, when I mentioned that I was reading this, that read it, and she said she enjoyed it, and so I'm excited to listen to this. I think that I haven't listened to an audiobook in a while, and so I picked this up because I started doing some walks throughout the day and thought this would be a good way to something to listen to, something a little bit different. So I haven't started listening to this just quite yet, but I anticipate that this will definitely be a book that gets read. Next up, let's go over some library books that I have checked out, because that's kind of how I prioritize my things. Library books I try to go through first because there's a due date on them, and especially if somebody places it on hold, you need to turn it back in, you can't renew it. So when I went to the library, I was still kind of feeling like I was going through a reading slump. I think I talked about that in the last bookish video that I did, but I feel like I may be coming out of it, I hope, because it was not fun being in a slump. But I rechecked out American Royals. This is by Katharine McGee, and I believe this is a reread for me. I have read this book. When I looked it up on Storygraph, I read it in 2020, but I picked it up because they had the sequel there, Majesty. This is the second book. I don't know if the third book was there, and when I looked it up again, I think that there are 4 books now. So I picked up the first and second book to see if it would re-spark my interest, and I like to do that. If it's been a while since I've read the first book and I want to read the second book in a series, I'll go back and refresh my mind about what happened in the first book. So I did start this, as you can see, just barely. I'm not far along in it at all. I'm only like to page 11, so I'm not nearly very invested in it yet, but I picked this up in hopes that it will help get me out of this kind of reading a little bit of a slump or funk or whatever it is. And then, like I said, picked up the sequel, so we'll see about those. Sorry, I didn't even tell you what it was about. This is What If America Had a Royal Family? So instead of Washington being the first president, he was the first king, and if the lineage just continued and we had a royal family instead. The little tag at the end, at the back of the book, says the power, the drama, the intrigue, the crown. This is the story of the American royals. So it talks about the heir, the spare. There is the heir, Princess Beatrice, the spare, Princess Samantha, her younger sister, the schemer, Daphne, who would do anything to get her hands on the crown, and then the commoner, Nina Gonzalez, is just a girl in love with a prince she's about to steal the spotlight. So there's that. Majesty follows up, and it just says, when you are a royal, the country has an opinion about what you should wear, how you should act, and who you should love. When you want to be a royal, you'll do whatever it takes to win that attention. Teen Vogue says, imagine a world where Meghan Markle is the Queen of the United States of America. American Royals is the next closest thing. And then Sarah J. Maas also has a little quote on the back, inventive, oh my gosh, inventive, fresh, and deliciously romantic, an absolute delight. So that's of the sequel. There's that glare on it. Sorry about that. But picked up those two as well. And then I picked up Suzanne Park, The Do-Over. Again, I don't know, this title seems familiar, but I don't know if it's just because I have heard of it, read it, or one or the other. So we'll see. But this one is Christina Lauren says, a beautiful, hopeful portrayal of second chances in life and in love. I absolutely loved every word. And Allie Hazelwood says, a true gem. So recommendations, you love it. Suzanne Park, I do like her writing. I know I've read other books by her, but this one is following Lily Lee. She's a best-selling author of How to Be a Work Supernova, and her editor wants her to strike while the iron's hot with a notebook, How to Land Your Dream Job. But when Lily's offered a coveted position at a top firm, the employer background check reveals she's short a few college credits and she never actually completed her degree. So unbelievably, this is her worst nightmare come true. Lily goes back to school, it looks like, to relive her senior year of college 10 years later. She enrolls in classes, gets invited to frat parties, and then she discovers that her computer science TA is her old college boyfriend, Jake Cho. Of course it is. So as Lily and Jake reconnect, she sees that her late blooming ex has done well for himself. Things aren't so simple the second time around though. And then it says, told in present day with glimpses of the past, The Do-Over is a delightfully warm and hopeful story about second chances in life and love, and how the future we want may turn out far different than what we imagined. So all the things that I typically like to read, lighthearted, that kind of stuff. Like I said, I was just looking for books to kind of get me out of my little bit of a funk. And then in the teen section of our library, I found this Once Upon a Quinceañera by Monica Gomez-Hira. This says, Carmen Aguilar is living a fairy tale life if Beauty hated the Beast. And she was constantly outshined by her rich, spoiled cousin. And she was stuck completing a work-study program as a party princess to earn the last high school credits she needed for her diploma. Interesting. Carmen's happily ever after summer has just turned into her own personal telenovela nightmare. So I thought this would be a cute, lighthearted, again, hopefully feel-good book. So we will see about this one as well. Now for two books that I owned that I kind of want to get to. The first one is the second book in the Percy Jackson series. I have read the first. I only have the, well actually I do, okay. I have all five, but I know I mentioned this probably in one of the bookcase organizing videos that the last two books I thought I was buying was the same spine. That's what was pictured, but what was sent to me was two different cover books, and it was just one of those things that I was just kind of stuck with. So let me know if you can relate to how irksome that is. That the first three in the series match, but the last two don't. So I'm going back and forth on whether or not I want to get the other matching one, if that's something that I want to budget for, yada, yada, yada. But first, I think I should see if I even like the books, the rest of the books, because like I said, I only read the first one. So I'd like to get to the second one. This one is Percy Jackson and the Olympians. This is the Sea of Monsters. Percy Jackson's 7th grade year has been surprisingly quiet. Percy and his friends are going to journey to the Sea of Monsters to save their camp though. But first, Percy will discover a stunning new secret about his family, one that makes him question whether being claimed as Poseidon's son is an honor or simply a cruel joke. So if you're not familiar with Percy Jackson for some reason, Percy Jackson finds out that he is half human, half Olympian, half lowercase g god, and he is, I think we discovered it last year, so he's just starting middle school. Here he is in 7th grade, and he's just coming into his own, finding out new things about this world, what that means to him. It explains a lot of things that have happened to him as he was younger and such. And so we follow him on another adventure in this book. But like I said, I'd like to finish the series or get more involved in the series to see if I actually like it before I see if I want to switch out the books for vanity reasons, right? And then another book that I want to pick up soon is Emma by Jane Austen. I read Pride and Prejudice. I talk about it annoyingly because you would think it was the only classic I had ever read because it's the only one I really talk about a lot. Aside from Anne of Green Gables, loved that one too. But I found Pride and Prejudice to be surprisingly funny, and parts of it just had me laughing out loud. Parts of it were not laughing, but I absolutely loved the dad in Pride and Prejudice and his humor. Emma by Jane Austen. I believe this is what the movie Clueless is based off of, and for that reason alone I think I'd want to pick up this book. But also one of my reading challenges is to pick up a book that begins with the first letter of your name, and I've not been able to find, or maybe I haven't looked hard enough, too many books that start with the letter E, but this was sitting on my shelf and I was like, oh, this is a good one. Plus this size book I think is just adorable in comparison to like your other size books. It's just a little bit smaller, but too cute. And so, yeah, I'm hoping I get to this too. As always, Atomic Habits is still unfinished. We're working on it. I don't know what it is about finishing the book that has me dragging my feet. I keep saying, okay, I'm going to promise to read like 10 pages every morning, or I'm going to commit to reading 10 pages in the evening, yada yada, but I don't. If you have any tips on how to finish it, let me know. And I really want to finish it because so many people were like, this was a life-changing book for me, and I can see that, where it's about habit building and habit stacking. Lots of good information in there, but I don't know, I'm very much a mood reader, and I guess I just haven't been in the mood for it. So I need to finish that book as well. But this is the pile that I've got going for me this month. I always do that. I'm not quite sure that we'll get through all of these, but my hope is that I will. Let me know if you've read any of these, or if you have any suggestions about what I should be reading, or if you think one of these books in the stack is a must read and I should definitely pick that one up first. I'd love to hear what you're reading and any suggestions you have. Also, in case you don't know or just need to be reminded, as always, may I be the one to remind you that you are deeply and truly loved and so appreciated. I really appreciate you taking your time out and spending it here with me. Thanks so much for joining me.